I learn about the founding fathers,
Okay.
I'm convinced, slowly getting convinced that they were not good people. I mean, Alexander Hamilton, I think, probably was a good person. John Adams.
Of all the people to say, well, he might have been a good person.
All he did
Alexander
was
Hamilton.
cheat. It's okay. Cheating's not as big of a deal as, I mean, having baby skeletons in your basement.
Ben
Like,
Franklin had skeletons of children buried underneath his home.
Look that up.
Okay.
I've never even heard of that.
As you're looking that
Of
up,
course you haven't. Why? Because the mainstream won't touch it.
or because it's unsubstantiated. Kwaku, you're sounding like Jeremy Runnels saying, they won't tell you about this part of Mormon history because it comes from a late unsourced person and it's third hand.
No.
You're like, this is a construction worker who said that this happened. And
Well, I mean, theoretically, if information is hidden, no matter what, like you could also say I sound like the freaking Virginia Goofrey, who was like, let me tell you about Epstein. Here's what they're not telling you. Like, no matter what, and she was right. But when you've got, I can't think of one good reason you should ever have a pile of child skeletons in your home.
Gosh, you're right.
I can't think of a good one.
The secret bones
in Benjamin Franklin's
Was
basement.
his
What is
house
this?
like built on a cemetery or like what?
No.
They were freshly buried.
This is like the movie Poltergeist.
Look, when you get into when you look at the initiations and oaths that these guys went through, you find creepy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, even I can't. Well, whatever. We're going there. We have been taught since we were children that they are so great. They're so great. They're so great. They're so great. And again, this Cardin's gonna butt in and go, well, that's your Democrat side. This is before I was a kid. Okay, it's before I had any concept of that. And children often just know truth. Like sometimes a kid just like out of the mouth of babes. I was learning about the founding fathers as a little kid, and it just went off, and I was like, yeah, but those people owned people.
my gosh.
They were bad.
This is crazy. Wait, hold on. Benjamin Franklin lived in London's Craven Street for nearly 2 decades while he was an ambassador to the American colonies. The elegant 4-story townhome at 36 Craven Street was renovated and restored in 1998 as the Friends of Benjamin Franklin House decided to turn the then dilapidated property into a museum.
Wait, this is a house in London?
Yeah, but the restoration work threw up an incredible discovery. 1 month into the renovations, a construction worker called Jim Field found a small pit about 1 meter wide by 1 meter deep inside a windowless basement room. Sticking out of the dirt-filled pit was a human thigh bone.
I'm going to move the camera to you, Cardin.
Okay, yeah. After calling the police, the excavation continued. More bones were found. In the end, more than 1,200 human bones and fragments of skeletons were unearthed. The bones were the remains of around 10 bodies, 6 of them children. Tests revealed the bones to be about 200 years old. Historians at the Institute of Archaeology agreed the bones that had been buried in the basement was probably when Franklin was living in the house. What nefarious history is underneath? Okay, well,
And when did they?
It can't be true because I was taught that Daddy Franklin was a good boy. I thought he was a good boy. No. These were, I'm sorry, I'm going to say, I don't care if I get.
We don't know if somebody was trying to frame him.
Look, I know that I'm going to make the Rod Meldrum-esque Mormons very angry when I say what I'm about to say, but the commandments were set. Have you guys seen the movie Super with Rainn Wilson?
No.
It's one of the best movies ever. It's this weird movie. He's like kind of off, but he plays a superhero and he's like beating up drug addicts with like makeshift like terrorist weapons.
Okay.
And there's a part where he's about to kill Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
And because Kevin Bacon's like trafficking women and like a drug dealer, and he's like, "You almost killed people for butting in line." There's a clip of him beating a guy with a hammer because he tried to cut in line in a movie theater, and Rainn Wilson goes, "You don't butt in line. You don't molest little children. You don't profit off the misery of others." And it's about his spit's flying. He goes, "The rules were set a long time ago. They don't change." And that scene right there, you're like, whoa. Like, it hits
What
you
movie
hard.
is this again?
It's called Super. It came out in like 2008.
Okay.
And
That was your glory days, bro.
middle school? What
does that mean?
Elementary school? What? Anyway, so you're like, you think about that. The rules were set. The commandments were set by Moses on Mount Sinai. Everyone had them. We've had them. The founding fathers had them. We give excuses to these people as if they didn't know the rules. But when you have bodies in your basement, when you own and traffic people, how can you be a good person? Like, why do we say, okay, besides their massive flaw, and that's not a Democrat talking point. This isn't Kamala Harris saying that human trafficking's wrong. We've known it forever. Other founding fathers were like, hey, This is wrong and it's evil. You should stop doing things you're doing. Also, those weird ceremonies you go into with the Freemasons and the creepy initiations you're doing, that's also kind of whack. So why is it we excuse things that if they happened right now, we would say Alex Jones would be losing his mind.
Okay, well, hold on.
Every single right winger would be like, look. But we go, well, they were with a good boy. He was a good boy.
Let Carden finish the
Okay,
thing.
hold on. Excuse me. The article continues, Kwaku. And you were right. I did not know about the 10 bodies that were buried in Ben Franklin's basement at his house in London. That's crazy.
He was also a plant by the royal family. He was a plant by England to get it. He was a total spy.
I can't get through the 21st century conspiracies. Now we're going into the 18th century ones. But okay, so here we go. This is what the article finishes saying, okay? And it's pretty interesting here. It says, Benjamin Franklin was a lot of things: author, politician, scientist, diplomat, Freemason, and statesman, but it turns out he definitely wasn't a murderer. Now, unless the Londonist is trying to run cover for Benjamin Franklin, which I doubt they are.
Well, maybe they are because he was their spy.
Okay, it could be.
But
London? You mean Babylon?
Babylon.
Literally what London's named after, by the way. Keep going.
Shut up, really?
Yes.
Yeah, Babylon, London, like.
Oh my gosh, I had
I'm
no
not,
idea.
no,
Okay.
I'm not kidding. That's not even a joke. Look
Okay.
that up. That'll creep you out.
Okay.
Keep going.
So it says, further investigation showed some of the bones had been sawn through. Others bore scalpel scars. A skull showed drill holes, probably made by a trepanning device. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Oh, doctor.
Yeah.
Like crappy doctor stuff.
Okay. So the evidence pointed to Franklin's close friend, William Hewson, an early anatomist who had been working in secret at the Franklin's home at the time. So Benjamin Franklin had some weird buddies, and apparently one of them...
Look, no, my buddy was the guy who had botched operations as kids, not me. It was in my house. I didn't know.
When the cops came asking me if you were an anti-military terrorist, I told them he's got weird ideas and my friends are strange. But you know what I'm saying? Like, freedom of speech, dog. Get out of here and raid Mar-a-Lago.
And is what it's saying. the dude was an anatomist, so he was... What else does it say after that?
Yeah, so, well, this is what it says. It continues, and let me continue.
Look, maybe the kids were already dead. You know?
Well, we don't know. Were these homeless people? Because, like, it used to be some of the early doctors, because a lot of the institutions at the time didn't allow messing with the human body. They would steal the bodies of homeless people that had died in order to do operations on them and kind of discover more about the human body. So William Hewson and Benjamin Franklin. Hewson had been studying anatomy under Scottish scientists and surgeons, the Hunter brothers. He famously showed how blood passed through the
hunting what?
Yeah. The games, my friend. So he used mercury and a turtle to show that the lymphatic system could have blood pass through it, and the discovery attracted this scientist Ben Franklin, and the two became friends. All right, but as it says, anatomy was still a murky subject at the time. Poking around in dead bodies had been outlawed throughout the Middle Ages and the 1600s. So
he said we need to move on from turtles and go get some bodies.
Yeah, so he says by the 1700s, it was growing as a subject for study, but it was still only legal to dissect the cadavers of convicted and executed murderers.
Really?
Now,
why are there kids?
So Jack the Ripper,
Yeah.
so Benjamin Franklin here is has bodies of people, has a weird little who's the creepy German dude who was doing the sewing people together?
Frankenstein?
No, not Himmler. Mengele.
Oh.
He's got Mengele hanging out with him in the basement with people.
Dude,
And
this guy doesn't sound like Mengele. Don't diminish how bad Mengele was.
Brad, I want
some
you to
random
answer
British
this question.
guy.
Answer this question honestly. If you found out tomorrow that Hillary Clinton had a basement with a weird doctor and 10 bodies in there, you would not be like, well, if you look at the context, you know exactly what you would be saying.
Here's the deal. George
You would be
Washington...
Like, bro, did you see the bodies?
Yeah.
The Clinton body count got raised by 10. Come on, guys. You know this is fishy.
Here's the difference between Hillary Clinton and George Washington. George Washington had an opportunity to seize the
Ben
ultimate power.
Franklin.
No, but we've been talking about all the founding fathers here. And part of the reason why I say, okay, I don't think George Washington was this uninspired menace like you think, that George Washington had the chance to seize the ultimate power and become king of the colonies, and the colonies wanted it, and he gave that power back to Congress because he was so committed to the ideas of freedom.
And they've done such a great job.
No, but that's apart from George Washington. Hillary Clinton would not have done that.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton would have taken the queendom.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
No. They were very different because one trafficked in humans, and the other did too.
Oh
well,
my
one
gosh.
killed a lot of people. Oh, well, the other did too. Well, one was kind of ugly. Well, she's actually better looking than him. But
both
the
look
point is,
Both look like men with white hair.
Well, one thing I want to say
Oh,
is
man.
she's
whether
actually a pretty lady. Like for her, she's like a pretty old woman. She looks like a Relief Society president.
a little bit, yeah.
She's not bad looking. No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I will say that even if you're right, Kwaku, and the founding fathers were all evil,
Not all.
or mostly, with the exception of our friend
Alexander
from
Hamilton.
Barbados, yeah. If these guys were bad, I still think that there's room for the Constitution to have been an inspired document with good principles in it, because I think God even works through bad people at times to make his purposes happen, right?
No.
So-
I agree with that. I'm
Okay,
still
but hold on.
pro-Constitution, but what I'm saying is
No, but before we
why-
go out there, we got to put to rest this story because you've basically accused Benjamin Franklin
Of being a mass murderer.
of being a mass murderer of children and then
serial
storing
killer.
a serial killer storing the bodies in the
I
basement.
got the bodies of kids. I do satanic
wh-
ceremonies and bang hookers all day, but I
Okay,
promise
no.
there's nothing to see.
Okay, Benjamin Franklin was into the occult, as was C.S. Lewis, as was Joseph Smith. So hold your
as are
horses.
you.
As are you, as
There's
is
two
my
sides of the
wife.
occult.
You know what I'm saying?
And which side was he into?
I've done it for a while. I don't have no bodies in my basement.
Okay,
Okay,
well, hold
I'm
on.
like,
You also
man,
don't have an anatomist friend yet.
Okay, so Kwaku, you don't know what I've hidden in the trunk of your car. But so I'm just kidding. So here's the deal though, is that apparently in 36 Craven Street, it was a perfect place for an anatomy school. At
That's
that
a
point,
terrifying name.
yeah,
I'm just thinking
Craven.
that-
Even Wes Craven's new nightmare.
The physiognomy of that name
Can I finish this dang article?
The Hunter
All
brothers
right.
on Craven Street with the bodies in the basement.
doesn't sound like serial killers at all.
So anyway, look, so here's the deal. Apparently back then, body snatchers would steal recently buried people and sell them to doctors that wanted to study the anatomy, and they were called resurrectionists. And as it says right here, it seems like 36 Craven Street was the perfect place for anatomy school, and resurrectionists smuggled bodies from graveyards via the Thames River Wharf. All right, and it looks like Benjamin Franklin's buddy Hewson received several of these bodies, and the obvious out here is that you can't just dispose of stolen human bodies in the trash that have been all chopped up, or else people are going to start asking questions. A, why do you have them? Because it's been illegal since the 1600s. And B, so where are you going to bury them? In your own basement that happens to be the basement.
So quick-
so it's fine. He didn't kill the bodies. He had a cabal of body thieves bring them
No,
to
it
him.
looks like
That's weird.
these people were
Kwaku,
dead already.
Let's
Kwaku.
put it this way.
That's
He-
that's
he
the
was-
most Hillary Clinton. He tripped and fell on the gun. They were dead already. Come on.
Here's the deal. He was doing this. He was doing what he was doing for science.
Oh, like
for
Fauci.
science.
Like
yeah.
Fauci, right?
So
If
he's
you wanna be-
justified. If it's for science, it's fine.
Yeah, so is
right?
Klaus Schwab.
If you
Oh,
wanted to
gosh.
be really Hillary Clinton about this, you'd be like, at this point, what difference does it make anyway? They're already dead. That was a great, you should remember that reference.
No, I do. No,
That's
no.
a solid
I'm not
argument.
pro Hillary Clinton, okay? But I'm just saying.
Well, you were when you were the head of the BYU Democrats.
Ooh,
But I didn't even vote for her.
You didn't?
No, I voted for Evan McMullen.
me too.
Oh.
Freaking
what?
Caillou, he let us down.
So
Oh, well,
jeez.
back then there was a lot of hope in Evan McMullen. I
There
think,
was.
yeah, that's a little bit different.
Okay, is
But
that article done?
But I'm just saying, like, here's my thought process that I was trying to lay out with Siaka, but he was just like, "Girls love me. I get girls all the time. America, name a country."
Okay, it wasn't Alex Jones. It was Siaka. He's a very
Okay.
distinguished man.
I know. But here's the point. The point is this.
Also wasn't Richard Nixon.
yeah, that's the
Also-
voice I do
Yeah.
for everyone.
Impressive jowl action.
Yeah.
So first, the system created by the founding fathers. Okay, our government has done more damage to the world than, I would say we're top 10 in the 20th and 21st century. We've done an unspeakable amount of damage. silent damage like fluoride in our water, silent damage like the destruction of literal testosterone among men, damage like that.
Okay, quick, hold
damage
on.
in Iran,
do you
in
think
Iraq,
those
and Iran.
things-
The cultural revolution in China.
I said we're in the top 10. See, you're doing the what about the other guy? I can say
Quick,
China's
Stalin.
evil too.
top 10 when you're going by like nations.
Yeah.
That's
No, that's what I'm saying.
What even are those? Like that's the US, China, Russia, and what? What else? Brazil, India. What
Germany,
other
US,
are there
China,
10
Russia.
superpowers to even care about? That
Well,
that just feels like a
It
weird
doesn't have
point.
to be superpowers, but I'm saying nations that have done extreme global damage.
Yeah, but
we
no one
always
even has
say-
the power to do extreme global effects of any kind. There aren't 10 countries that can
Because they're
extremely
neutered little
affect the globe.
pansies
Well,
and
they really-
inconsequential.
Switzerland's done quite a bit of damage on us, and we don't really count them as a superpower, but they still done their damage. But the point is, we never like to include America in the list of the bad guys. We have done some horrible damage, and our government is pure evil. You can't look at Gladio and MK Ultra and all of these CIA experiments and these horrible things we've done and go, no, we're still great.
Well,
I want to go
they're
back.
Democrats.
Okay, well, Nixon was Republican, and that guy was bad too. Okay, the Democrat, it's the same.
That's
wings
Jim
of
Bennett,
the-
our buddy's boy.
It's both the wings of the bird. Okay, and so
Ezra's
we look
eagle.
now. Yes, we look now. We're like, okay, evil. Our government's doing terrible, corrupt things. They're openly hanging out with our politicians on islands. We're doing horrible things. Let's go back further. Oh, they were still bad. Let's go back further. Oh, geez, they were still
Okay,
pretty
we
bad.
gotta- we
Well,
gotta
there's no way
start
they
our-
were bad at the inception. There's no way that. Oh no, can't be, because I was taught when I was a little kid that these were the good boys. Well, I'm sorry, they have been bad since the beginning.
Okay,
And
wait until you study Argentine history. And you realize all the generals they name every single street after in every single city weren't fighting in wars. They were just literally plain old Indian massacres. Like, at least...
I can recognize though that other countries suck too.
Okay.
But we do this thing where we go, yes, we suck. But this obscure South American country
So let me
also
finish
sucks.
this.
So,
Let me finish this
they
combo.
suck too.
We got to start
So,
our podcast.
well,
we
the
got to
thing
start
that
our
I want to
podcast.
say with this
Okay.
is
Brittany's dozing. She's going. She's going.
no. So I think that we have a situation where the more freedom that we have, the more capacity there is for good or evil. I think there are also very, very good things that have been done by our country.
Yes.
I think that
Here.
there's a huge capacity for that to be misused, and it has been. And we've seen that. But that doesn't mean that we should throw out the entire concept of the country because there have been horrible things done as well.
I'm not burning down neighborhoods and saying death to America. Like, I'm not. I have not issued a fatwa.
Just death to
okay?
Benjamin Franklin?
Well, he already did die with his skeletons. But what I am saying, though, is I want to be honest enough about the world we live in and the manipulation and the lies that have been foisted upon society to say, you know what? There's blood in this soil, too. And America may have been evil from its inception, just like a lot of other countries. But everybody thinks that they're the exception. Everyone thinks that, oh, no. We're Egypt. We're different. Our pharaohs are way better.
Kwaku?
They fell.
I
think we're just
you
as
need
bad.
a vacation, dog, for two reasons. One, I think it's going to do you good. Third, I hope it's in a foreign country. So the second you go there, you realize exactly how much better it is here. And I get that pride is a sin of comparison.
No, I understand. We're much better than Iraq because we killed 1 million innocent people and there's dead bodies everywhere. Keep going.
Okay.
We're much better than the countries we've destroyed.
Benjamin,
yes.
I don't think okay, this whole thing started because you were talking about Benjamin Franklin and the bodies found in his house on Craven Street. I personally doubt Benjamin Franklin secretly killed 10 people. It is pretty cool, and I think we're gonna have to look into it more. But at this point, I don't know. To me, it's a stretch to say Ben Franklin was killing people in his house. But I don't know. We'll find out. We'll look into it.
Okay, well, all I'm saying is every single time this concept is brought up, Christians, whether they're Protestant, whether they're Baptist, LDS, whoever, is like, no. Our founding fathers were good. They were good. Yes, our current politicians are bad, and they've been bad for like a really long time, but I promise they were
They've
good.
been bad since James K. Polk. That's when it all fell apart.
I'm just saying,
James
I
K.
think
Polk
there's
was
a
the
couple of
worst.
good ones.
Okay, look,
Lincoln, Kennedy.
This is the last thing I'm going to say.
But
last thing I'm
we
gonna
have
say.
had. I don't think George Washington was a good guy. There, I said it.
You don't think George Washington was a good guy?
What
No.
what a stunning and brave thing to say in 2022, Kwaku.
So
No, people will do not like you if you say that. People get very upset,
I
especially in our community, in the LDS community. But I'm sorry, I can't ignore the facts any longer.
yeah, but
If
there's
I'm gonna
plenty
be-
of people who will praise attacking the founding fathers right now. That is one of the most common things.
I'm
that
not
I
a
see.
blue-haired commie though. I don't care with those. I don't agree with those people like Jean-Paul Sartre, who was a pedo. Like
Yes.
I'm not on
okay,
board
so
with
here's
those
the only
guys.
problem with that, Kwaku, is that you've mentioned a lot of evils and not well-known stories as the origin stories in many countries, stuff like that. But if there's good and there's evil in this world, and you believe that there is the possibility of good in Zion, but there's also the possibility of evil in Babylon, I've never heard you say that there is a place that wasn't evil. And not everything can be evil, or else the world would just cease to exist in a heartbeat. And so, I don't know. I think in order to entertain the idea that the founding fathers, like flawed but ultimately inspired, I'm down with. But straight up evil, a bitter font cannot bring forth sweet water. And America is the sweetest water in terms of self-governance and basic freedoms, defended, albeit in a flawed way, by the government with the recognition that God gave them. It's the sweetest political water humanity's had in 21 centuries of self-governance.
And something else I
Do
want
you
to
really
say.
believe that though? I don't.
Yeah, go to another country.
I do. But here's the thing, Kwaku. I think, ask and you shall find, right? Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. All of that. I think you've been looking at a lot of what did they do bad? I'd encourage you to take a month of studying what they did good and see how your opinions change.
But that was my.
Just a second.
Okay.
Think about the way that they actually like not your average just general education of like elementary school education level of what the founding fathers were like. Study what they actually did good. Study what was good about them, see what you can find, try to understand who they were and what they were like, and see if you come back with the same conclusion. Because I think it's very, very easy for us to, and I think this is maybe part of what you're complaining about, is that people only study the good side, and then they think that that's the only thing that ever happened, and then say that
That's how we
they're
were raised.
good. Yeah, but I think
in
you're doing the
Texas.
exact same
You're
thing.
ex-Mormon subredditing the founding fathers right now. But that's the way we were raised, with these lies.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's-
And
Yeah,
so
but there's a difference though. I've studied both the ex-Mormon talking points and the pro-America talking points.
Okay,
and
I
I'm
don't
on the
think you
side
can
of
say
Joseph
study
I
Smith.
don't
both
think you
and-
know. I don't think you know George Washington's history well enough to make the assertions you're making.
I do.
I don't
do.
think you do.
I do. I promise. I have extensively looked into the founding fathers.
Okay, I was
also
at his house like 6 weeks ago.
I just.
Look, you want to say Thomas Jefferson?
I
Who's shadier
just-
than George Washington?
I
I'm
just
down.
think, Kwaku,
Of course- well-
you're making the same mistake just on the opposite side, right? Where you're like, oh, I found out these bad things that they did, so they must be evil.
But these are really bad things we're talking about.
Okay, what are your? I guess we've talked about the bodies in the basement
Yes.
of, what's his name, Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
So we've addressed slavery as
Yes.
one of the big things. What are the other evil things that George Washington did?
The Freemasonic oaths and initiations that Washington and Franklin were engaged in.
Do you know what those were for
Yes.
them at their time?
Yes.
How do you know what they were?
You can go read the transcripts from that century of what they were.
What were their initiations? I'm very interested.
I'm not sure if this is going to BitChute or YouTube,
No.
but quite literally oaths and promises to Satan.
Oh.
Wait, so the Freemasons were oathing to Satan now?
Have you? Okay, we might want to. I'm not sure. I don't want to offend any Freemasons. Have you actually listened to their ceremony?
I
'Cause
know
I've listened to
nothing
both.
about Freemasons.
Because I've been through our ceremony and
Yeah.
I've listened to the Freemason ceremony, and theirs is really sketch. And the higher you go up in the lodges, the higher you go up in literally the pyramid, the whole, hey, you know the phrase, let me level with you?
Yeah.
That's a Freemasonic phrase, because you actually have to go up to the level in the literal built pyramids in their temples. It all ends with this creepy, like, Luciferian, hey, the real God is the one that they call Satan, but he's actually it's all dark and satanic. And when you become when you Joseph Smith it and you go in to learn all their stuff and you take their good stuff and you incorporate it and then you say, hey, by the way, Freemasons are apostate and evil, that's kind of bad and I respect you. When you're the one who goes in and you're like, yes, I'm a part of this. This is very good. In addition to the things you've already done that are quite creepy and dark and bad, I can't look back. If that was anyone else, I would say that's evil. But because we're conditioned, even when we're children, to think these are great people, we have the hard time going, wait, but were they good? Like, they have to be good because we were taught so long that they're good. And why do they push that so much? Why can't they don't just teach principles of the Constitution. They push it, at least in Texas where I was raised, they hammer it in that these are good people you should never criticize.
That's another difference. I'm Canadian and an immigrant, so I didn't have like the Texan.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah, you guys are like
down.
George
I
McFarland.
think, bro.
Wait. Can women be Freemasons? It's just men, right?
Eastern Stars, depending on the lodge.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So look, Kwaku, I'm doing you a favor here, bro, because we're brothers and I love you. I'm not going to publish this. I think similar to Alex Jones admitting that what he said about Sandy Hook was bad, and that, you know, all these conspiracy theories in his mind, it kind of made him go a little bit like, you know, dubious of anything that was happening. He had to have been the government, and so he said some kind of heinous things. You know what I'm saying? I will never publish that you said George Washington was a bad person.
You can publish it. I don't care. You can do it.
I don't think there's...
How would that be damaging to him? I don't see that as being damaging to Kwaku at all.
Who's going to come after me?
Yeah, who would go after him for that? No one would be... This is not like a...
Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. This is far enough out there for me where I'm just like,
really?
What the heck?
Oh, interesting.
Well, because here's the deal. I think it undermines some of the fun we've had in some of these other conspiracy theories that actually have a lot more merit to them. I feel like the merit to a lot of these other theories is a lot closer to the truth and does not fly in the utter face of research I have done myself. I'm not here to say Benjamin Franklin was a great guy. I think he did a lot of things wrong, but there was one thing he did right. And the moment in time that he did that right changed the course of human history in a way that would drastically benefit the lives of billions of people after him in a way that couldn't have happened had he did not do that great thing at that time. Therefore, he deserves to be venerated, okay? As one of the founding fathers, okay? We all know he was a drunk. He was a playboy. He was this. He was that. I don't think he was killing babies secretly and burying them in his basement. Looks like he had a buddy who was an anatomist during a time when, this is the reason why Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, was because you had to dig up dead bodies if you wanted to do your experiments, and they were either murderers or else they were homeless people that had died, and some of these were probably orphans from an orphanage, and it was so gruesome you couldn't and then give them a public burial, which was expensive and also outlawed. So what'd you have to do? You had to dispose of them your own way. So it looks like in a really weird and gothic, brutal aspect of history on 36 Craven Street, Benjamin Franklin is now attached to 10 buried bodies. Okay. I don't think that makes America the Great Satan. In fact, I really doubt God would have restored the gospel in the Great Satan.
Why?
I'm not bothered by that.
He raised a desert prophet and the other great Satan of Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay, dog, I'm sorry. I've studied way too much about George Washington to think he was a bad guy. Like, I don't know.
This feels to me like the fixating on Moses having killed an Egyptian and being like, check it out. He was a
but that was self-defense.
Yeah.
He didn't profit off the death of Egyptians.
Would you say that if Hillary Clinton had killed an Egyptian?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm sorry. When Seth Rich shot himself in the back at night when he had the info on Hillary Clinton, that wasn't an accident. Okay.
Exactly.
We're moving on. We got to do this podcast before I fall asleep.
Cool. Yeah.
But
we just did one.
It's
like
like
one more.
I don't know if we can publish this one, man.
That's an interesting take, though. I think there's merit to what you're saying.
At least I'm being consistent.
Yeah.
You're speaking your truth.
Okay.
Good job, Greg.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think
moving on.
There's merit to what you say.
Okay. Logo intro done. I'm turning this off.